Okay, we're now live on
What's up?
YouTube. Mr. Huff.
You saw say you gonna get somebody for me to be with me so you could leave.
I'm sorry.
Once you
Give me a second. Let me go over here.
but I don't want you to miss your appointment.
Exactly.
That's more important than this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, can we stop the crosstalk at the jail?
Let's send a deputy over here, okay?
But if you had to go, go. I stay here.
No, I'm not gonna leave you. I don't do that.
Hello, at the jail.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're trying to have this hearing, but with the crosstalk, we gotta wait. Okay. For the record, this is position 30, State of Georgia versus Kentrell Marquise Huff. Ms. Huff is charged in warrant number 2022 WA 06344 with committing the offense of trespass. Mr. Huff is present. He's being represented by Mr. Little, who's also present. The state is being represented by Ms. Allman. Ms. Allman, you can swear in your witness and present your evidence.
Yes, Judge. Sorry, I couldn't get my computer to unmute. Officer Scott, will you raise your right hand? I don't see you.
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay. I see you now. Sorry. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give in this matter now pending before the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Place your hand down. And are you currently employed with the MARTA Police Department?
Yes.
And were you employed in that capacity on April the 11th of 2022?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have the occasion to come into contact with a defendant by the name of Kentrell Huff?
Yes.
And if you could explain to the court the nature of your contact.
Well, myself and multiple officers were clearing the train at the airport that day, and I came across Mr. Huff. He was sitting in the seat. He was laying down. He was asleep. I conducted a welfare check on him to make sure he was all right. And I asked him where he was going and if he had a breeze card. He did not have a breeze card, so I asked him to step off the train and to go downstairs and pay. He refused. I asked him multiple times again to leave. Another officer was able to get him off the train, but he still wouldn't leave, so he stood there on the platform. He said that he wasn't leaving, so we issued him a criminal trespass warning. And again, he refused to leave, so that's when we arrested him.
Okay. And did that contact happen in Clayton County?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Huff on the screen?
Let me swipe. Yes.
All right. And what is he wearing?
An orange jumpsuit with a white face mask.
No further questions at this time, Judge.
Mr. Little.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Scott, did you investigate to see whether or not Mr. Huff had any prior criminal trespass warnings from the MARTA?
Yes, we did a check for the MARTA suspension. He didn't have an active one at that time.
Okay. So the criminal trespass warning under which you arrested him was the one that he was issued on this occasion?
Yes.
Were you the one that gave him the warning?
Yes.
What'd you tell him?
I just told him that he had to leave to go pay because he didn't have a breeze card. So we was like, just go downstairs, buy a breeze card, and you can come back. And he said that he wasn't leaving. So I told him, if you do not leave, you will be arrested for criminal trespass. And that's what I told him. He still said he wasn't leaving.
So he was specifically warned that he would be arrested if he didn't leave?
Yes.
Did he?
I mean, he stood on the platform. He turned around, put his hands behind his back. He said he wasn't leaving. So.
Okay. Did he have any property with him or anything?
He had, they're just the clothes that he had on. I believe he had a hat and some jewelry. That was it.
Okay. And so it's your testimony, he made no indication that he was leaving?
No.
All right. Those are the questions I have at this time.
Any follow-up, Ms. Allman?
Follow-up, Judge.
May Officer Scott be excused?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, Officer Scott. You may be excused. Are you presenting any evidence, Mr. Little?
No, Your Honor.
Any argument?
No, Judge, the state will submit on the evidence.
Defense will also submit on the evidence, Your Honor.
Okay. Based upon the testimony that Mr. Huff was told to leave and offered the opportunity to leave and he refused to go, I'm going to find that the state has submitted sufficient evidence for this case to be bound over to the state court of Clayton County.
Thank you.
Mr. Huff can be sent back. Okay, what do we have? Are we gonna try? Let's try Mr. Barge one more time.
I think we got it this time, Judge.
Okay. We need Eugene Barge.
Yes, sir, he's on the way. Come on, right here.
Yeah.
All right. Just tried your trick, Mr. Little, in closing the break rooms.
I think it takes a couple seconds for that room to actually close out, but then when it closes, it'll boot everybody out to the main session. It takes them like 45 seconds to actually close though.
Okay. Now it's saying 20 seconds. I don't think we finished yesterday until almost 3 o'clock.
I had hoped that I would have time to do jail visits this afternoon, Judge. I didn't realize we were going to be here all day, but I guess I'm committed to this now.
Yeah.
I thought I had to go to the courthouse to file some motions, but fortunately the e-filing system is back up and running today. It was not up and running yesterday. That one saved me.
That's good. Okay, for the record, this is State of Georgia versus, I think it was Edward Eugene Barge. He's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 50026 with committing family violence battery. And did you say with 50027 he's charged with battery also?
No, Judge, that one is going to be cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
Okay. So he's charged with warrant number 2022 CW 50027 with cruelty to children, 3rd degree. Sergeant warrant number 2022 CW 50258 with committing the offense of family violence battery. And he's charged with warrant number 2022 CW 50259 with committing the offense of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Mr. Barge is present. He's been represented by Mr. Little. The state is being represented by Ms. Bellow. Ms. Bellow, you can swear the witness in and present your case.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Ms. Crowder, if you could please raise your right hand. Raise. Okay, do you swear affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, and Ms. Crowder, can you please state your name?
Miranda Crowder.
Okay, and Ms. Crowder, do you know Eugene Barge? Do you
Ma'am?
know Mr. Barge?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you know him?
He's my fiance. We've been together a year.
Okay. Do you have any children together?
Yes, we have a
And-
3-month-old together.
Okay. And before this incident, were you living together?
Yes,
Okay. And on the 1st of January, 2022, did there occur an incident that you called the police to come out to your home?
Yes,
And is your home located at 8240 Tara Boulevard?
yes, that's my old address, yes.
Okay.
I don't reside there anymore.
Okay, but that's where the incident took place, in room 145, correct?
Correct,
Okay, and that's in Clayton County, correct?
yes.
Okay. And so, why did you call the officer, the police to come to the location?
We was fighting.
Okay. And at the time, did you already have your child or were you pregnant at the time?
No, I was pregnant at the time.
Okay. And you were fighting, so y'all had a fight. Why did you call the police?
So they could come out and handle the situation.
Okay. And did you call the police because Mr. Barge physically put his hands on you?
Yes,
Okay. And when the police came out, you told them that he had slapped you in your stomach area, correct? And you also told him that during the fight that you ended up having a cut on your finger as a result of it, but you didn't know how the cut got there, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Hold on now.
She's leading this witness on direct examination. I would ask that she phrase these as not so leading questions.
And Judge, I would say during the preliminary and in the family violence battery type cases with our victims, the courts usually do give us some leeway. I will try to do more direct type questions, but I believe we do have a little leeway in these scenarios with leading questions on direct.
Well, I will give you some leeway.
Okay. All right. Ms. Crowder, did you have any other children?
no,
Do you have
not
any other
yet.
children?
Yes, I have 8-year-old, but he wasn't there at that time.
Okay, so the 8-year-old was not there when this incident took place?
No,
Okay. Do you recall telling the officer that your 8-year-old was there and that the 8-year-old saw this?
no,
Okay, so you don't recall telling the officer that the child woke up and saw you guys fighting and yelled, "Stop pushing my mommy"?
no.
Do you recall telling that to the officer?
My 8-year-old is here now.
No, I'm asking you the questions. Do you not recall
Okay.
telling the officer in the report that your 8-year-old did see the incident and told Mr. Barge to stop pushing my mommy?
I don't remember.
Okay. And as a result of the, did you receive any injuries due to the slap to your stomach?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And where exactly on your hand was the cut that you received?
I think it was on my big left finger.
Okay.
I think I did that.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time, Judge, subject to redirect.
Okay, Mr. Little.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Crowder, I'm Stephen Little. I represent Mr. Barge in this case. You said there was a cut on your hand.
Yes, on my left finger, but I think I did that. He didn't do that on this finger right here. It's gone now.
How did the cut get caused? Do you remember?
I don't remember because things happen so fast, but I know he didn't do that. I did it.
Okay.
Trying to grab something, I think.
So you don't think he caused the cut to your hand?
No.
And then it's also your testimony that your 8-year-old son was not present when Mr. Barge made contact with you.
That particular day, no.
Okay. Those are the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Bello.
Judge, I do have a couple more questions. Okay. Are you and Mr. Barge still, I know you have a child together, but are you all still together in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. So when you called the police out that day,
Mhm.
how are you so certain that your son was not there on that day when the incident occurred?
At my ex-boyfriend's house.
And so if the officer wrote in the report that you told them that your 8-year-old son was there and saw the whole incident, are you saying that that's not true?
I'm not saying that. I just don't remember, but I do remember my son been over my ex-boyfriend's house. Not on that particular day.
Now, this occurred on January 1st of 2022, correct?
Yes.
When did it start? Was it just that particular day?
Yes, unless we're talking about on two different occasions.
Okay.
Because I know on the second one, yes, my son was there when he pushed me, and my son was telling him to get off me. So we must be talking about two different dates.
Okay. So how are you sure that you're not confusing the two different dates? What's the date? What would be the time frame between the two dates of these two incidences then?
It happened in January 1st. I'm gonna say around about January 8th. They wasn't really apart. January the 8th.
Okay.
That's when he came to go.
Judge, I have, okay, thank you, ma'am. I don't have any further questions.
Any recross, Mr. Little?
No, Your Honor.
So let me ask this question just so I can be certain. Are you saying, Ms. Crowder, that there is an incident on January 8th of 2022? I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yes.
And is that the incident where you say your 8-year-old was there?
He was there that day.
And the incident from January 1st of 2022, you're saying your 8-year-old was not there?
He was not that time.
Okay. Okay. May Ms. Crowder be excused?
Yes, she can, Judge.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. You have a beautiful child. You can be excused. Any argument?
Judge, I am going to submit for the most part of evidence. I will state that she did admit and did state that Mr. Barge did slap her on her stomach on that day of this incident that occurred. They are in a relationship, were in a relationship, and were living together at that time. I will still say that based on the police officer's report and what she told the officer, she stated—
Objection, Your Honor. The police officer's report is not based on any witness who had testified. So this would be facts that are not submitted in evidence, Your Honor.
The report is based on the witness that testified, Ms. Crowder.
Ms. Crowder didn't write a police report.
Exactly. Sure didn't.
Ms. Crowder, I need you to mute your phone.
And Ms. Crowder, I really need you to understand, most likely there's a body cam of this incident, and you are testifying under oath. So this may be revisited at another time. But go ahead, were you done, Ms. Bellal? I'm sorry.
Judge, yes, and I was just going to say, I'm just going to submit this case on the rest of the evidence that was presented today to the court.
Okay, Mr. Little.
Your Honor, there's 4 warrants that are on the calendar for today. But as far as testimony, Ms. Crowder only testified as to one potential criminal act here, which would be the allegation that Mr. Barge slapped her in the stomach. So, I mean, there could be probable cause for that battery. I'm not necessarily going to argue that there isn't for that. But for all the other warrants, the allegation that she was cut on her hand, Ms. Crowder specifically told the court that she believes that she caused that injury and that she is pretty certain that Mr. Barge did not cause that injury. And then it is her testimony to the court today that her son was not present when these injuries were caused on January 1st, which would be the 2 child cruelty warrants. So, Your Honor, in this case, I would argue that the state has failed to meet their burden of probable cause as to the 2 warrants for child cruelty and 1 of the battery warrants. But then the other battery warrant, I make no specific argument on, Your Honor.
The child cruelty, and correct me if I'm wrong, for the January 1st incident, she did testify that her 8-year-old child was not there. But she later testified that the 8-year-old child said something to the effect of "get off my mommy" or something like that.
I think that's what the state was trying to get her to say, but she didn't agree with the state on that.
She did, but for a different date, according to her, Judge.
Which is, and that's how I'm looking at it is, I believe that there's a probable cause for the battery from January 22nd. And I'm going to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's warrant number 50026.
I think you mean January 1st, Your Honor.
January 1st.
January 1st, I'm sorry.
That's good. That's 50026. Yes, Judge.
Okay. For the 50027, I'm going to dismiss that because her testimony was that her child was not there on that date. 50258, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind that over to state court.
Your Honor, my worry on that is I'm not sure there was any testimony that there was actually a battery on another date from the witness. What is the allegation of battery on that date?
That's where she said that there was a second date. As I was hearing the testimony, as it was coming out, that Ms. Crowder clarified that there was a second incident, and that's when she was saying the 8-year-old was there,
right,
saying, get off my mother.
But what did she say happened? What did she say the battery was on that date?
The battery, as I heard it, was the 8-year-old being present saying, get off my mother.
I know, but what was Mr. Barge alleged to have been doing? My worry is there was no testimony that Mr. Barge made contact with her. We don't know where she was hit, what she was hit with, if it caused an injury. We don't know what the allegation of battery was for that second date. So without there being evidence of a battery, how can there be a child cruelty?
Well, she actually backed herself into it by saying the 8-year-old was saying either stop jumping on my mother or get off my mother. So I hear exactly.
Explore on redirect though, like what was the battery?
I understand your argument, Mr. Little, but probable cause is more likely than not. It's not beyond reasonable doubt at this stage. As I heard the evidence as it relates to the child cruelty, it was the 8-year-old saying, stop either jumping on my mother or beating up on mother. I'm actually tired, so I can't recall exactly what the exact language, but I took that as evidence of an offensive touching. And they live together. She has a child by him, or pregnant with a child by him. So I understand this may not make it the whole way, but right now I'm going to bind that, both of those warrants over to state court.
Yes, Your
Honor. Let's see. We got Officer Mays for Pierce.
Yes, Your Honor, and Mark Lane for Mr. Pierce. We were in discussions with the prosecution about possibly resolving this case, and I'm just waiting to hear back. Don't know if they were.
For some reason, Attorney Lane, I've checked my email and it still is just not coming through. And I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay.
So do you want to wait on that? We got Mr. Davis.
I can send you my email or my phone number in the chat. Do you think you could just take a picture of it so I can look at it that way on my phone?
Sure.
All right. I'm not sure what's going on. There you go.
Judge Carter, what was the decision on barge or warrant number?
Warrant 50027 was dismissed. The rest were bound over to state court.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, boy. I'm gonna need a map and some energy bars or something.
Same, Your Honor. That's whatever you had here.
Yeah, this is, I think we're getting close. Derek Harris. Did the officer ever show up on that case? He's position 25. That's your case, Mr. Little.
It is, Your Honor.
I don't see Dunta
The
Thomas.
Officer Bowling.
I have Dunta Thomas, but that's what's on here, but I don't know if you have.
Okay, from the report, it's indicating that it's Evan Bowling, so I'm not sure if but I think on the calendar, the subpoena went out to that different officer. So the state would just ask for a reset, Judge.
Your Honor, the defense would ask for a dismissal. I mean, we're here. Mr. Harris is here and ready. It's not our fault they subpoenaed the wrong officer or that their officer didn't show up, Your Honor.
Let's bring Mr. Harris up. Derek Harris.
Okay, so Derek Harris.
When was Mr. Harris arrested?
Judge, it would appear that he was arrested on March the 23rd of 2022.
Mr. Harris, sir, this is your preliminary hearing. For the record, this is State of Georgia versus Derek Harris. It's charged warrant number 2021 CW 56285 with committing the offense of theft by taking.
And Judge, if I may, my police report indicates that Mr. Harris was actually charged with felony possession of cocaine. And so I'm not sure why he was on the calendar for today in this court.
Because that's not the case that's on this calendar. He had an outstanding warrant for a misdemeanor theft by taking at the time that he got arrested for those other charges.
Okay, well then that's what I have a report for.
Okay, well, the state has moved for a continuance. Your lawyer has requested that this case be dismissed. And I think I'm going to grant that request and dismiss this case. for warrant of prosecution. That does not make this case fatal. The state can charge this case before the end of the day if they want to, and it'll bring the case back. But right now, it'll stand dismissed. And Mr. Little, if you would, send over dismissal.
Yes, Your Honor, I'll prepare that order right now. And Mr. Harris, you're still going to be held on your other charges that you got arrested on. You would either have to make bond or wait to go to court on this, but this is just for the misdemeanor we talked about yesterday. Okay.
Yes, sir.
For Jeremy Judge, he was the person that was unrepresented, and I think Mr. Brooks was handling that case. But
Judge, I'll handle that case moving forward.
well, the officer isn't here.
Okay.
Calvert Whitworth is the officer that I have. Can we bring up Jeremy Judge, please?
And that's the officer I have as well, Judge.
Okay.
Judge?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, gentlemen, yeah, thank you.
Mr. Judge, for the record, this is position 32, State of Georgia versus Jeremy Judge. Mr. Judge is unrepresented and has chosen to represent himself. He's charged in warrant number 2022 WA 06309 with committing the offense of criminal trespass. He's also charged in warrant number 2022 WA 06310 with committing the offense of reckless conduct. It appears that the officer has not appeared in this case. And so at this time, Mr. Judge, your charges will be dismissed. Does not mean that your case cannot be brought back at a later date by the prosecution, but at this point, I'm going to dismiss these charges. Okay, do you have any questions for me? Okay, Mr. Judge can be sent back.
Thank you, Judge.
Are we ready on? Oh, you're still working on the case with Officer Pierce.
And
I'm sorry,
Judge,
Officer Mays.
I believe we've reached a consent in that case.
Okay, it's going to be a consent bond or waiver?
I guess it would be as a bond condition. The defendant's been accepted into a rehabilitation program, and I've agreed to allow him to be released to that program.
Okay. All right. Well, someone just send over the paperwork. I'll sign that. Officer Mays, it looks like this case is going to be resolved. Thank you for your patience. You can be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a nice day.
You too. Let's see. Raymond Sanchez, what case are you here on? You told me, but I can't remember.
Samuel Davis.
Davis.
Mr. Little's client, Judge.
Okay.
I think that's one that we got appointed to today, Your Honor.
Yes.
Samuel Davis.
Okay. And if I'm correct, Officer Sanchez, you're only going to be able to testify as to the family violence battery. Was that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're going to handle this, Ms. Alman?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Can we bring up Samuel Davis?
Tell you what, Judge, when we bring out Mr. Davis, I want to ask him a quick question because it may be easier for us if he's going to have the other case. I don't know. I'm going to ask him if he wants to see if maybe continue this thing to next week and have both cases with the officers here.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Samuel Davis.
My worry is on a battery, it might be a little more complicated to talk to him. And if I just got appointed today, I'm not sure I want to talk to him for 5 minutes, then roll into the hearing.
I understand.
Criminal trespasses are a little simpler.
I understand. Mr. Davis, we have a situation where you have 3 charges with 2 separate officers. And there's going to be an issue with the other 2 cases involving Officer Golden. So we're going to continue this case. When can this case be continued, Ms. Mary?
May 17th.
Okay, it'll be continued to May 17th. So you'll have time to speak to Mr. Little, and he'll have time to be prepared on both of these, on these 3 charges, 2 cases.
Mr. Davis, I'm going to visit with you before the end of the week because I also want to talk to you about, we could do a waiver if we don't necessarily want to wait until May 17th. So I'm going to discuss all those possibilities with you when I meet with you later this week. Okay.
Okay, I wonder what I have with the officers. I don't even know these people. No,
Well, that's why they got to bring the officers so they can try to tell the court why they think they have probable cause to arrest you.
Oh, why they? I thought they arrested me for a warrant from October.
That's more of what I want to talk to you about because it's a little factually complicated. So when I meet with you, I'll explain to you everything about what's going on. But I just got appointed to you today, so that's why I only got this now. But I'm going to meet with you at the jail and we'll have more time to talk about it.
Okay, all right. So you said at the end of the week?
Before the end of the week, I'll either get you Thursday or Friday.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Okay,
Thanks.
so Mr. Davis can be sent back, and Officer Sanchez, thank you for your patience. You can be excused.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We have an Officer Olivia. Let's see, we dealt with Mr. Barge, correct? I'm going to remove Ms. Crowder.
Yes, I think we're done with Mr. Barge.
Officer Olivia, are you still there? Does anyone know who Officer Olivia is here on?
She's a model officer for the Moran case.
On which case?
Moran, M-U-R-R-A-I-N.
Pretty sure that was a waiver for Kari.
Yeah.
Moraine. Yeah, that was a waiver. I've already sent that one to the court.
Yeah. That case, Officer Olivia, if you're still there, you can be released. Eric Mitchell. Looks like says the officer is last name Reed.
Mitchell, Your Honor, that guy was out to bond.
Okay. Thank you.
That case has already been bound over to state court.
Boy. I think that may be, we're getting close. Pierce is going to be a consent bond. Mr. Nix. Officer is an S. Taylor.
defense is ready.
Your Honor, you want next?
Yes, please bring up Mr. Nix.
Yes, sir.
It looks like the officer isn't here. Mr. Nix, for the record, this is State of Georgia versus Jeffrey Nix. It's position 52 on the calendar. Mr. Nix is charged in warrant number 2022 WA06351 with committing the offense of criminal trespass. It does not appear that the officer has appeared. So this case is going to be dismissed, Mr. Nix.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
And
Mr.
I will
Yes,
send that order.
Judge, with all due respect to the court, and just for the record purposes, the state would request a continuance of this case because it is domestic in nature, where this defendant's accused of going back over to the home of his ex-girlfriend after he was criminally trespassed. And so, again, respectfully, in understanding the court's ruling, I just would like to officially request a continuance.
And for the record, Your Honor, I will object to the continuous request for lack of prosecution. We are here ready to proceed. It is the officer who has not shown up, and it is not the defense's burden to produce the officer.
I note your concern, Ms. Allman, for the record. And I'm going to go ahead and dismiss this case. Mr. Nix, sir, although this case is being dismissed, is this I have criminal trespass damage to property, Ms. Allman, or are you just saying it's a criminal trespass for returning?
Yes, Judge, it's just for returning to the location.
Okay. So, Mr. Nix, if you've been told to stay away from that location, and you go back to that location, you can find yourself back in jail again. So it is in your interest to stay away from that location, or you risk going back to jail. Do you understand that, sir? Okay. Mr. Nix can be sent back.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Is it Sholaris? Sholaris.
Sholaris had, he went back, sir, earlier because I don't know, for whatever reason, he went back.
Did he have like an emergency or something?
Yeah, we're gonna need him. Looks like this is another situation where the officer isn't present. So it appears after we do this case that this will be it.
I think that's it for me, Your Honor. Yep.
I mean, Your Honor, if the state doesn't have a witness, we would ask to dismiss.
I understand.
Yes.
And Judge, it doesn't appear as though we do have a witness.
Okay. Any objection to me dismissing this case and not waiting on him being brought back?
No objection, Judge.
Okay, this will be dismissed for warrant of prosecution. So he can stay back. His case will be dismissed. Mr. Suh, I'm gonna need you to present
Yes, Your
that
Honor.
order to me. Okay, so that appears to be
Your Honor,
complete.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor,